Call the meeting for competitive edge charter school to order. That's where I need my computer.
6:12.
6:12. All right. Sure. And we have 4 board members present. President Pope gone. And then Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So
First by Regina, Board Member Cruz. Second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, all those opposed? I vote aye. And it's approved. All right, public comment?
no public comment.
All right, and we're going to go to the advisory committee report.
Yes, we actually did not have a second meeting this month, and so I reported out last month. Nothing
Oh,
new.
that's right. That's our second meeting. All right, and now it's your turn. Okay. Right. Yep. So we will be able to approve it, and then he's gonna. All right. I'd like first on your motion for competitive charter academy local control accountability plan.
Move approval.
All right, and then second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? No. 0 vote. Okay. So it's just you. All right, so for the consent calendar, 5.01 and 5.02. Do I have a motion to approve those? The consent calendar. By Board Member Avila, and the second?
I'll second.
And the second by Cruz, Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And then this is presentation. All right, now the presentations.
Good evening, Board Clerk Ms. Miller. Thank you for having me here this evening. Members of the board, Superintendent Binks, members of cabinet, thank you for allowing me to be here this evening to talk about our local indicators. So first off, just the dashboard, just a reminder, the purpose of the dashboard is really to display the performance of local education agencies, or in this case, our school, and as far as how student groups and our overall school is doing. Our performance indicators, we have standards that we get to report on our own based on our staff, our students, and our families. We're gonna make sure that we report out annually here at a regular scheduled public meeting and report the results through the dashboard. The local indicators, priority areas that we're going to focus in on tonight. Priority 1, basic conditions at school. So addressing the percentage of appropriately assigned teachers and students' access to curriculum. Priority 2, implementation of state academic standards. Priority 3, parent engagement. And priority 6, our local climate survey. We'll wrap up with priority 7, access to a broad course of study. So priority 1, basic conditions at school. We had 0 findings in these 3 areas. First of all, any misassignments of teachers of English learners or any teacher assignments, misassignments. Students without access to their own copies of standards aligned instructional materials, and identified instances where facilities did not meet the good repair standard. In priority 2, implementation of state academic standards. This went to our pedagogical team as well as our leadership team. And you see the rating scale at the bottom from a 1 to a 5. As far as our progress in providing professional learning, we had a 4.8 average. As far as progress in making instructional materials that are aligned to our state standards, a 5. Our progress in implementing policies or programs to support staff and identifying areas of need, 4.5. Our progress in implementing each of the following academic standards, and there's a list of standards that go along with that. Our pedagogical team and leadership team felt we were at a 4.8. And as far as our success in engaging the following activities, also a list of standards, 4.7. As far as priority 3, parent engagement, this is based on a 1 to 5 scale. So for example, in the first one here, rating CECA's progress in supporting teachers and administrators and improving schools' capacity to partner with families, 97% of our families felt that we rated a 4 or 5. Our progress in creating a welcoming environment, 97% of our families rated it a 4 or 5. As supporting staff to learn about each family's strengths, 96% of our families, 4 to 5. Progress in developing multiple opportunities for our school and site to engage in two-way communication, 97% of our families felt we're in the 4 or 5 range. And progress in providing professional learning and support to teachers, 98% of our families felt we're in the range of 4 to 5. Our local climate survey. So this year we're able to take the information from last year's students' responses and actually take it to our students, our student team, our committee, our student voice committee that we created this year. So some of the major themes that came out of it in the elementary area, positive school environments and anti-bullying was a big topic for us. Activities or tools for unstructured time. So adding to unstructured time, meaning recess, lunch, but also after school activities. And that's where enrichment opportunities came into talking about expanding that a little bit more. And then improved school meals. You never get away from school lunches for some reason, always a big topic. And then in middle school, major themes, teaching and learning, and really talking about re-engagement policies and access to re-teaching and learning opportunities. Talking about student behaviors and really outlining expectations. Improved facilities, and this really just comes to our campus kind of being at capacity right now and availability for other rooms for things like band. School policies, talking about the dress code, kind of goes right along with school lunches. And overall student well-being, offering more opportunities for more unstructured social emotional learning time, like lunchtime opportunities for groups to come together. And then priority 7, these are locally selected measures to make sure that we're offering students a broad course of study with art, music, language, just a tremendous amount of electives, leadership elective opportunities for our students. We feel like this is a huge area of excellence for us. One area, the third bullet down, any barriers. One thing that we keep coming back to is when we talk about our tier 3 support for our middle school students or some of our special education students, sometimes they miss out on things like an elective or maybe a language because they need that period for extra support. And that's something that we always are kind of gnawing on, trying to find a way around that. It's still providing those opportunities for students who need extra support within the school day. We'll provide them after school and before school, but it's hard to provide that with just the amount of time in the school day. So that's one bullet that we feel like we always kind of go back to and reflect on. Questions? Good. Great.
I think I have one.
Sure.
Don't be sorry.
I see in, like, I think it was the 6th, it said you gave the students a survey, but in regards to your parent engagement, how did you obtain those stats? Because it seems like, I see like 119 responses.
Right. So it's a survey that's sent out to our families.
Mhm.
So we had 119 responses on this.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
We use our parent community advisory committee as a great opportunity, or like our ELAC committees are also ways, but they're a little bit more anecdotal, whereas a survey really gives us that hard data, we feel like. We could probably give it multiple times. I think that would be effective for us.
Correct, yeah, that was. So you only give it once?
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That's it. Thank you. That was awesome. All right.
I'll just give a little bit of additional information that probably all 3 of us would want to just thank Joe for his leadership. Summer school has had the highest enrollment we've had in quite some time, and it's just been seamless, and he's volunteering to do that work on his campus while he's there, and it's just been a great opportunity. I think there's a big draw for parents wanting to go to competitive. It has a great reputation, and so thank you for your extra hard work on summer school. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Board member Alvarez? Cruz?
I think, looking at those scores, you should be very proud of you and your staff. You've done great work. You continue to do great work.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Excellent.
I have a little antidote. So I work with 2 parents that have kids in summer school right now. And yes, they were complaining about the first day because of all the chaos and drop off and all that, but they love it. The kids love it, the parents love it. It's just so amazing. So they're doing a good job with it. So thank you. Yeah. All right. That's it. Anybody else? No? All right. We're adjourned. That was easy. And we have a couple minutes. At 6:24, yeah. 6 minutes. Woo.
Take your seat.
Thank you for setting up the time to visit CECA.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll meet you there.
Oh,
All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order. YCJUSD School Board meeting. All right, let me find my spot here. Find my spot. All right, we have a roll call today. We have 4 board members present tonight, and board president Bo is out of town. All right, please stand for the pledge.
Ready to begin.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, to the approval of the agenda, we'd like to move 7.17 to the before 7.01. So we're moving the motion.
And I'll second it.
Second, a motion from board member Avila and a second by board member Bannister. All those in favor? Aye for me too, so that's 4-0. All right, so we are going to report out from closed session. So let me get this. The Board of Education took action on a motion made by Sharon Bannister and a second by Regina Cruz, followed by a 4-0 vote to appoint Julie Howard to the position of principal for Parkview Middle School. Like to say something?
Good evening, Board Miller, or Board Clerk Miller and board members, Cabinet, Superintendent Binks. I just wanted to say thank you. It's such an honor to be back at Kaifa and serving to the. Okay, I'll try it again. I wanted to do it over anyway. It's an honor to be back at Parkview and serve in the role as principal. I did want to say my thank yous to the board, my thank yous to Cabinet and Superintendent Binks, but also a thank you to my husband, Dustin Howard, who's in the house tonight, as well as Heather Aguilar. I saw her somewhere. And then, and of course, Dr. Lingenfelter, who are my biggest fans, on top of my husband wanting me to come back and supporting that. So I appreciate everybody. I look forward to working with you, Jeremy. It's nice to see you again. And again, I'm very excited and thank you again for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to all the beautiful things that Parkview is going to continue to do. So thank you very much.
The Board of Education took action on a motion made by Regina Cruz and a second by Sharon Bannister, followed by a 4-0 vote to appoint Christina Raskovic to the position of principal for Dunlap Elementary.
Good evening, Board Clerk Miller, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, and members of Cabinet. I would like to sincerely thank you for this opportunity to serve as the new principal of Dunlap Elementary School. I am joined by my family, my husband Alex, and my sons Parker and Kristen. I'm incredibly grateful to bring my passion for learning, leadership, and community building to this role. I'm honored to join a district that values student growth and collaboration, and I look forward to meeting and working alongside the dedicated staff, families, and students at Dunlap. I will continuously work to support the district's vision of making a difference in the life of each child. Thank you for your trust and confidence in my leadership. Thank you.
No public comment. All right. Student board member report.
Good evening. Last week I discussed about some ideas that I had as a new student board member, but this week I would like to give some updates about my progress. One of the ideas I presented last week was creating a website, and the website was going to consolidate the articles that I wrote and the surveys that I conducted to ensure that all demographics of students were represented. I'm currently working on the website, and my goal is to finish it by early July and definitely no later than the start of school. I also had the goal of reaching out to more students and individuals in the educational community. So therefore, I had the opportunity to talk to Rotary at the past meeting last week. And I also had the opportunity to speak to some of the principals who are here in this room. And they gave me advice about how to go about my way as a student board member. But they also gave me more insight about what their students need. And I want to ensure that all student voices are heard. As they told me, there are students that don't have that group or platform where they can voice their opinions, but I want to make sure that I can reach out to as many voices as I can. I also started reaching out to the principals at the summer schools, including Mr. Mead, to see if I can visit the school soon. And thanks to Mr. Bradley, I'm able to visit on July 2nd. So by next meeting, I'll have a presentation about the first session of the summer jumpstart at CECA. And it's good that it's not just CECA students because I get to reach out to all students in the YCJUSD district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to report about Cry Rock, and at every board meeting that we have, once a month we have a board meeting, they show a video. Is it good to play that video?
Yes.
And this past week, they played a video about our construction classes, and there's a really cool video, and Lance is gonna bring it up, so I wanted to share it.
Come on, buddy.
This month, a pathway to the future, we'll highlight the construction program at Yucaipa High School. Here at YHS, we get offered a lot of different opportunities here. Everything from different guest speakers to the equipment we get to work with and the materials too. We get offered a lot of different projects too. Everything from really scaled down buildings to structures like stuff like this back here. And we really get a full process of it. Everything from building it to taking it down, cutting the material, even working on prices, things like that to help us in the future and everything. Construction technology has really helped me skills, like just doing at-home projects by myself. Also not having to hire a handyman, I can just build it and do it myself.
I've been voting. Not too good with the terms, but I say definitely because both are really good and opportunity.
I don't feel like I really teach, I share knowledge is what I do. So I try to show the kids that you can build and you can pick up skills and you can put yourself on the right pathway to earn good money. There is a flag that was left for me and made for me by a blind student I had. So I would say that I'm pretty open-minded to taking any student. I believe that everybody should have the opportunity. I don't see myself as your normal teacher. There's no power structure here. It's just that I have knowledge and information I can share with you to make a pathway for you to make better choices.
I just thought that was really cool. It just shows, what Cry Rock's all about, but what we have at Yucaipa High School.
Without the ones like you working tirelessly to keep things
It's a
Sorry.
great program. All right, on to 7.17. Let me get there. Jump around here. All right, so we're going to vote on the 2025-2026 Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP. And do I have a motion to approve the plan?
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Avila, second. Second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor? I vote aye, and it is approved. All right, 17. All right, now back to 7.01, the budget. Do I have a motion to approve the budget? So moved. Moved by Board Member Cruz. Was it Cruz?
Yes.
Yes, and second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and it is approved. All right, 7.02, 2024-25 Education Protection Act, EPA spending plan. Do I have a motion for 7.02?
Move approval.
And a second?
I second.
Moved by Board Member Bannister and a second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and it's passed. Seven point oh three. Okay, so this is the substantiation of need for excess of the minimum recommended reserve for economic uncertainties.
Move approval.
By Board Member Bannister, second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, that passes. 7.04, resolution annual special tax, community facilities district number 1. And moved by Board Member Cruz, second.
Second.
By Board Member Bannister. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and that passes. And 7.05, use of facilities fee. Do I have a motion?
I move approval.
By Board Member Bannister, and a second.
I'll second.
By Board Member Avila. You want to vote first? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, it passes. And
I just wanted to make everyone aware that we have really not changed our use of facilities fees since 2019. And so the cost of doing business has increased. In fact, our board policy says that we won't take a loss with our raises that have occurred over the period of time since 2019. Our custodial fees have increased, and so we were definitely taking a loss. And also there's wear and tear of the track and field at Yucaipa High School. For the benefit of youth, we're not charging for the fields because we maintain them, make them keep them in good repair. That is for our own students that attend during the day, but we will be working with them on the cost for toilet paper and paper towels if necessary. We need to do that. But this is definitely necessary. It'll be different for some of our youth sports because they haven't been charged in the past. But we did do a comparison with several districts from the I-10 corridor, and we still are below them, but it was appropriate for what we felt the need was. And so I want to give credit to Carol Dwecky because she did a lot of the legwork. Well, I'll say this, she did all of the legwork. I shouldn't say a lot of, she did all of the comparisons. And as we worked through this, I'm talking with Megan Wolf from the city of Yucaipa, who does their youth activities. We went through our joint use agreement that does allow us for charging some of the fees that we hadn't been charging. And so this was really an overhaul, but in collaboration with the city. And we are working with our sports, our football, our junior All-American, all of our groups, and kind of walking them through this. And so as we open up the use of facilities, we will be meeting with them differently than the city had been meeting with them. They had been doing those meetings in a group. And so we're putting out information and communication, and then we'll take their questions individually. Just a little bit of a change, and it's unfortunate that we can't continue to allow people to use the facilities at a lower rate, but the upkeep of the turf and track is really expensive, and so we wanted to bring this forward. So I appreciate the approval. It will definitely help the budget.
Okay, also, so you're saying that you're meeting with the different groups, so they'll get a heads up so they know what to charge.
Yes.
All right, okay. All right, on to 7.06, LOR, my favorite thing, at Yucaipa High School. Do I have a motion? Board Member Bannister and a second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor? Aye. I vote aye, 4-0. 7.07, purchase stage curtains at Calamasa Elementary and Chapman High School. I know. All right, moved by Sharon Bannister, second.
A second.
Second by Board Member Bam. And then
I
support by Board Member Cruz. And all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and that passes. Let's see. And what's that? They get their curtains. All right, and then 7.08, classroom fire alarm heat sensors upgrade, district-wide, that's important. Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Board Member Cruz and a second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye, that passes. 7.09, temporary kitchen trailers, plumbing at Wildwood Elementary School and Yucaipa High School. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support by, all right, by Board Member Bannister, a support, and a second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and it passes. All right, 7.10, temporary mobile kitchen trailers for Wildwood Elementary School. This is obviously a little different. And Yucaipa High School. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Second? Second by first by Board Member Bannister, second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I vote aye, that passes. 7.11, piggyback legal bids and contracts. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Second?
Second.
Second, first by Board Member Bannister, second by Board Member Avila. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I neglected to ask on the others, but does anybody have any questions or comments? No, on that one. 7.12, piggyback legal bids and contracts, child nutrition services. Do I have a motion?
So I'm looking here, and we've got three of the same thing, right?
Different vendors.
12, oh, it's just different vendors,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
all,
that too. Okay,
they're all piggybacks and they're all contracts for child nutrition.
Yes.
so they all have to be. Separate. Okay, so this is 7.12. Do I have a motion? Board Member Cruz and second.
Second.
Board Member Bannister, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, that passes. And so any questions other than that? 7.13, same thing, piggyback legal bids, another contract for child nutrition services. Do I have a motion?
No.
Board Member Avila, and a second. Board Member Cruz? Yeah. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any questions? Another one, 7.14, also piggyback legal bids on child nutrition services. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Board Member Bannister, and a second.
Second.
Second by Board Member Avila. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and that passes. Any questions on any of those? No? 7.15, E-rate compliance services. I have a motion.
Move approval.
Board Member Bannister, and a second.
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, passes. Any questions on that? 7.16, consultant agreement, Ucaipa High School athletic trainer.
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Bam.
Support.
and Support by Board Member Avila, and a second.
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and it passes, which is yes.
I just want to share with the board that our athletic director, Mr. Carpenter, asked, normally we would approve this before the start of the school year, maybe in the July board meeting, but with the heat and the heat injury and protection that we need to do with our students, he's asked for this to be moved up so that Mr. Cook could work with our football coach and other coaches to make sure they understand the heat illness injury protection. Yes, so that I appreciated his forethought on that.
Yeah.
All right. 17, okay, we did 17 already. 7.18, the 2025-2026 local control and accountability plan federal addendum. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Board Member Bannister, and a second.
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and it passes. All right. 7.19, review and approve 2025-26 single plans for student achievement.
Move approval.
Board Member Bannister, and a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and it passes. Any questions on that? Okay, 7.20, Ucaipa Adult School course titles.
Move approval.
Board Member Bannister moved, and second.
I'll
Second by Board Member Avila. All those in favor? Aye. I vote aye, and it passes. Okay, all right, I'd like to ask Jennifer Mattia for a presentation, please.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Mady. I am the TOA Instant Services for Targeted Intervention. And I'd like to start by saying good evening, board members, Superintendent Binks, and Cabinet. Thank you for allowing me to be here to present the K-2 early literacy screening information for the 2025-26 school year. This presentation outlines the district's plan to implement California Education Code Section 53008 and Senate Bill 114, which mandates annual early literacy screening for all kinder, first, and second grade students starting in the 2025-26 school year. This statewide requirement uses state-approved screeners to proactively identify and support students at risk for reading difficulties, aiming to improve literacy outcomes. In December of 2024, the California Department of Education approved 4 statewide screening tools, including M-Class with Dibbles 8th edition by Amplify Education. The Ucaipa-Calimesa Joint Unified School District has already implemented M-Class with Dibbles as part of its academic elementary instructional plan and the multi-tiered systems of supports framework. It is recommended that the district continue using the Dibbles benchmark assessments and as its adopted screening tool to meet the California Early Literacy Assessment Guidelines. M-Class with Dibbles uses a tiered screening approach with core and optional measures to assess foundational reading skills and identify specific deficits. This chart outlines the grade level skills and measures administered. After administering DIBELS, educators will receive instructional and overall proficiency data with tailored instructional recommendations, including lesson plans for teachers. The screening also offers alternative assessments for multilingual learners to demonstrate their proficiency. DIBELS 8th edition assessments are quick, teacher-administered digital assessments via the MClass platform. These nationally normed predictive measures offer immediate screening results, instructional grouping suggestions, and evidence-based lesson plans, making them a valuable tool for our district. They also use zones of growth to track student progress against national trajectories. DIBELS screening windows will be adjusted to minimize over-assessing. K2 students will have 2 mandatory screening windows beginning and middle of the year for all benchmark measures. Mid-year, at-risk K2 students will receive optional supplementary assessments. Grades 3 through 5 will continue screening per the elementary academic instructional plan. Monthly student progress, monitoring, and will both remain consistent with district MTSS guidelines. This early literacy screening plan includes assessment administration, data analysis, targeted interventions, and professional development. The DIBELS assessment will be centrally managed with site-level coordination by the targeted intervention specialists. The Educational Services team will provide district-wide guidance to ensure consistent implementation, and screening results will inform a comprehensive approach to early literacy development. In closing, the continued use of MClass DIBELS assessments will help schools identify student needs and provide targeted intervention for foundational reading skills. These are some of the resource links and professional development available to support staff and implementation. Thank you so much for your time, and I have to thank one of our targeted intervention specialists that came to support us as well, Kara Tucci. So thank you very much for listening, and if you have any questions, we're here.
Do you have any questions? Thank you. All right, so now we're going to vote on 7.21, amplify dynamic indicators of basic early literacy skills. We want to vote on the presentation there. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Board Member Fant, a support by Board Member Cruz, and a second. Second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. It passes.
Okay, I'm curious. So DIBELS, does it stand for something? Or is it one of those? Dynamic indicators of basic.
early.
Well, isn't that cute?
Isn't that
That was one of the criteria why we chose it.
It's like all the sound the same way.
Yeah,
That's our elementary role.
DIBELS sounds way better. All right, 7.22, consultant agreement, Playful Beginnings. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Board Member Avila, a second.
Second.
Second by Board Member Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and that passes. All right, does anybody want to pull anything from the consent calendar? No. All right, we're going to take the vote for the consent calendar 8.01 to 8.12. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Board Member Avila, second. Second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, and it passes. All right. All right, so this is the informational section here, 9.01. Any questions or any information on that? No? All right, 9.02, first review board policy 3515.31 for school resource officers. Any questions or comments on that? No? All right, and then 9.03, Shad Kirkland.
Good evening, Clerk Miller, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, and Cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity to share some information with you tonight on our local measures, which is a part of our LCAP. So last week, Dr. Anderson had the opportunity to present our 6 goals that are included in our LCAP, 3 goals being district goals to support our instructional program, our social emotional learning for our students, and our community engagement. 3 additional goals that are equity multipliers that help support the individual needs of F+ Green Valley High School and Lovac High School. So in the creation of those goals, they are based off of the 10 priorities set forth by the state. Those are all live links if you ever are so inclined to go ahead and really research it. You can go ahead and see exactly what they are, but Dr. Anderson's already weaved those into our goals that are included in our LCAP. So all of those goals had, they're pretty big. They're pretty broad statements as far as what they are designed to accomplish. They all have a series of actions underneath them, and those actions are all followed up with metrics. Those metrics evaluate the effectiveness of what we're doing. So as a person helping Dr. Anderson put this together, it's a lot of work and a lot of time. As a parent and taxpayer, I appreciate the transparency and the responsibility that goes into it. So it is a good document. It's very good. So go ahead. So all those things are supposed to help us in our improve the performance on our California dashboard. California dashboard evaluates our performance in ELA and mathematics, progress for our English learners, our graduation rates, our suspension rates, or chronic absenteeism. Those are all very quantitative measures. There's also some qualitative measures called local indicators that are included on there as well. So those are going to be a lot of what does our community think, what do we think, self-reflection piece. So our local indicators are really broken up into 2 main pieces. And the first one is going to be what do we think, the self-reflection piece. And another piece is going to be what do all of our educational partners think. A lot of surveys have gone out hundreds of times because it's kind of a culmination of all that. And it does all get included. So I promise I'm not going to read every single one of these questions to you. But just really quickly, the structure of the tables that you're going to see here are all the same. There's prompts that we had to, your ed services team, had to evaluate our progress towards prompts from the CEE. We have to evaluate them in our content areas of ELA, ELD, mathematics, next generation science standards, and social science. The metrics going across the top, 1 through 5, start from we are just now talking about it to we're developing a plan, we're implementing, we are in implementation, and we are sustainable. So 1 through 5. Good news, we don't have any points. But the first prompt that we were asked to evaluate our own progress on was our ability to offer professional development to our educators in these areas of instruction. And again, I'm not going to read them to you, but if you have a specific question, I'll be happy to stop. Next one has to do, number 2, with making instructional materials available to our instructors, making sure we have the right things for them to use in instructional practices. Again, all 3 4s and 5s. We would have scored higher, I believe, on the social science one, but we can't make that claim in K-12. We're really doing pretty well on the secondary side of things. Probably have a little bit more work to do. Number 3 is our ability to support our staff in identifying areas where they can improve delivery instruction. Again, I feel like we're doing a pretty good job. All 3s and 4s of that together. See this kind of theme come up. This one actually changes gears and goes a little bit outside of our core, English, Math, Social Studies, and Science, and addresses our progress in CTE, health education, PE, visual performing arts, and world language. And we feel we're doing a really good job on most of those. The only one that we gave ourselves a little bit of a poor mark is health, and that's because we do not have a dedicated health curriculum that we teach in the district. We do all the health-related compliance issues that we're required to do, of course, but we don't have a dedicated health. Elements that are picked up. with Healthy Youth Act. We also have some things that are done in our physical education courses.
Yes. I have a question. It's kind of putting somebody on the spot. But as a retired history teacher in the district, how come? It's initial implementation. The curriculum hasn't changed. Is it, and is this one of those where it's mostly elementary, it's not happening?
So we had the adoption last year for secondary with our
Oh, that's
history,
right.
social
Okay,
science,
all
with
right.
grades 6 through 12. And so, and working with our elementary levels, they are prioritizing a math adoption that will be happening next year in that implementation process. They wanted to focus more on math and looking at that as more of a priority. But we did adopt last year for secondary grades 6 through 12.
Okay, I remember looking at those materials, and there was a lot of ancillary materials that came with just the basic textbook. Okay, so once we get the math dialed in, is there a plan to beef that up?
Yes, English and also history, social science, following the math adoption.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. Yeah, okay,
I'll
so,
work with our business assistant superintendent on that.
yeah.
It's a lot of it.
It's a lot of it, yeah, I got you. Okay, thank you, and thank you for that was a good answer.
Since we're asking questions now, for the health education, you explain what's needed to be done, and maybe this is for the staff here. Is this a budgetary issue, or is it what can we do to bring this up?
We rated ourselves lower because there is an optional health requirement as a high school graduation requirement. In our district, we don't make health a graduation requirement. And that was the reason that we rated ourselves lower. Health's intertwined within our science classes too at secondary level, including also our health and biomedical pathways as well. But that was one reason that I think we were harder on ourselves. Not saying that we don't incorporate health into what Mr. Kirkland mentioned, into our physical education courses and also science. But honestly, we were harder on ourselves in the ranking.
And are we happy with the two?
We're happy with not having a health requirement in the sense of working with our high schools and getting feedback from them. We did have specific health courses, but in looking at prioritization and working with our high schools and getting feedback from our staff, teachers and administration, it was, we came to the conclusion with all the other health or all of the other high school graduation requirements is that they would prefer to keep that not a requirement.
Next one. This has specifically the ability for us to have processes in place to help identify professional learning needs of groups of teachers and individual teachers. We think we have good processes in place to be able to do that. And the area of growth for us is what to do about those things. So we are really good right now on the data front as far as being able to get data on performance to teachers, to groups, to administrators. That next step is where our growth area is going. So that's it for the self-reflection piece. The next piece of it goes into the community parent engagement piece and student engagement. So we included the link if you were interested to see the actual questions, and they are somewhat outlined by the CDE recommendations for what they would like to see us do. There is a self-evaluation after that piece of it, what we do with the data. We're not submitting it other than to our board. So go ahead, Lance. So again, not going to read all the different prompts to you, but again, same 5-point scale. This one asks parents to go ahead and say, so that's why I see a little bit of an average up here. And again, 1 is emerging all the way up to full implementation. So some of the questions, I'm going to be honest, that we asked the parents at the recommendation of the CDE, they're a little difficult because I don't know that parents necessarily have the insight about the professional development opportunities for teachers. Those are some of the difficult things that I think parents were like, I don't know. So just kind of the first one is building relationships between school, staff, and families. We rank pretty high on that. There seems to be a lot of acknowledgement of the efforts of our outreach to say, be involved. What do you think? Would you like to weigh in on a certain topic? So second one is building partnerships for student outcomes. Again, comes down to all those relationships and opportunities for growth. Seeking input toward decision making. We have lots of parent advisory groups, community cabinet meeting type things. And the last part has to do with student engagement. So this has to do with a lot of work that was done by our student board members, visiting schools, doing surveys, and the surveys that we put out as well. So go ahead. So to summarize, and again, we got lots of data points on it. The actual surveys are there. But the main things that we saw were there's positive school environment, of course, requesting always more things to do. There's an acknowledgement, bullying, and I'm sorry, this is an elementary school theme. They would like to see improved facilities, always comes down to the playground for elementary school kids, and better and more choices for them. That was kind of, go ahead, middle school. For middle school, again, recognition of what their teachers are doing and the types of things and the project-based learning type of opportunities that they have. Students acknowledge that student behaviors are difficult. They'd like to see more rules and guidance. And that school policy part, believe it or not, that's going to be. Again, they would like to see improved facilities and more opportunities for SEL type of things at school, counseling opportunities, check-ins. High school, again, they recognize that their teachers are the most important ones that they have to engage with on a daily basis. They'd like to see improved bathroom situations, the overall school environments. Start times is a funny one because they want to go earlier and later. So
preferably on the same day.
So it was kind of funny too because we also had a comment section. Somebody asked us to please remove the roundabouts. So I don't know if that's a and this is again the categorization of some of the questions in the school survey, the school climate survey. And it's separated up, same question, same theme of school safety, school connectedness, and academic success and engagement from elementary to middle and high school. These same questions were asked last year. You had a question?
I'm so sorry, going back to the school environment, can you just elaborate a little bit more on that? What does that mean?
So it's going to be different per site. And a lot of it has to do with kind of like that connectiveness of like, supporting one another. PBIS was kind of mentioned in that environment a lot about recognizing good behaviors and celebrating kids for doing various good things on campus. It kind of had to do with that kind of thing, like the acknowledgement of good behaviors on campus.
Okay.
And again, just want to point out though, the same questions, mostly everything is on the positive side. The recognition from our student groups were on the positive side, the neutral group, and our lowest one was our negative group, which is fantastic. And all these things trended in the positive direction from the same survey last year. So that is a positive. One theme that you can notice, and if you ever had kids and you have teenagers, they become a little bit more pessimistic as they get older. So our elementary school kids a little stronger on the positive side than our high schoolers.
I have a question.
Yes.
So this is a survey, and oftentimes I get a little disappointed that the surveys, not a lot of people do them. How was this? How many parents or families participated?
Probably fall into the disappointing category as well. So we don't get the turnout that we'd like. We do get hundreds. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head which survey had which kind of numbers. But that is a thing that Dr. Anderson and I talked about. We would like, if we're going to put the effort into doing these types of things, how can we get these numbers to be more inclusive? The reality is matter of fact, one of the comments from parents, you guys blast me with all this stuff all the time. I get contacted all the time on this stuff, and they miss it. I would much rather give too much information than too little, but there's a cost to that. Sometimes they're not looking.
Yeah. I know my kids were there before social media, and I felt like I didn't get enough information, and now, yeah.
isn't it also the case that if there's some problem, we hear about it?
Yes.
As far as a school event type of problem?
Well, no, as far as the community satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
So the fact that we're only getting 100 and some surveys back might indicate
People
something.
seem to be much more willing to reach out when they're unhappy. Satisfied.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. With the institution, the public information officer, we have so many people that reach out proactively on their own. And Lance, you just gave me a number.
It was 40 parents.
40 parents that did the survey. So I wish we could incentivize it somehow. We have to get a lot of cooperation from schools and teachers if we wanted to incentivize parents doing this. But we have multiple ways that, besides the survey, that parents communicate with us. We have anonymous, we have the Stop It app, we have contact _us, which is not anonymous, but we get feedback from parents there. We get emails directly, probably, I would think, 3, just in the superintendent's office, probably 3 or 4 a week from parents that are asking questions or have thoughts or concerns. And so we handle them one-on-one, and so maybe they're less likely. I know that also in other departments, in Jerry's department, Dr. Lingenfelter's and so on, we give a lot of customer care one-on-one, and so that might be part of it. And then there's always the busyness of the lives of our parents. So
Is this a universal survey or is it something that you guys put together?
It's both. It's a template recommended from the CDE, and we stick pretty close to it. And what we really do want is to ask, and I know it's repetitive, but try to stay close on the same questions year to year so we have a comparison. If you ask different things every time, it's kind of hard to see if you're making progress. So it's definitely a template that's issued by the CDE.
And I know you provided the link and all of it, but how many questions are in the survey?
It depends on which survey. So approximately somewhere between 15 and 20 lines. Does that sound about right?
Count right now.
Okay, that's fair.
So there's 7 surveys. Let's say that there's
13.
13.
13.
The survey from the California Department of Education, that one is more broad to what Mr. Kirkland's talking about. The one that we also send out that I know Mr. Bradley helps with, that's more intricate to where that'll have more questions. The piece of the student survey too, I think that's a piece that has helped with Mr. Bradley and also Superintendent Binks with incorporating the student voice aspect, because that was something we get student survey results, but I think those more qualitative conversations, that helps us understanding what we need to change with our programming piece to better support. So when we have the in-person meetings that Mr. Kirkland had, those are the meetings where we have extremely small attendance. But then to us, we get the better feedback in that way and the more informed pieces of those intricacies that sometimes in a survey, they're so broad that we don't really know. And we have more questions after we get those answers. The changes we've made is incorporating the survey from the California Department of Education is we ask questions that are relevant to our parents. We've changed survey or instruments because we had some feedback from parents with the information that we gathered and the data that we gathered. So we just went with a more general piece this year. Our main focus was the climate part of school connectedness and belonging, and to really see that the range that's increased with our parents and our families and also our students this year.
One more question. Is this in just English or is it in other languages such as Spanish?
It's in every language that we have in our SIS system.
Oh, okay.
How does it go? How does it go out? Does it go out through us or through per each school?
It goes out district-wide.
District-wide.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Parent
link.
square. Yeah.
I just also wanted to share, as we get parent concerns through the multi-ways I described, we look for trends in those. And so if you harken back to 2021, 22, there was concern about high school bathrooms and so and some other things. And so we work on those pieces. And so when they come back around again, we know we need to focus back and make sure that what we implemented is still taking place. Because when things get better, sometimes they slow down. So we are constantly evaluating where we're at, and maybe we can use community cabinet meeting times at our school sites as well as the district office to have them take the survey. And we'll bring candy.
Great question about how they received the survey. You said it's in via email, I'm assuming, or parents work. A lot of times, I mean, we're moving into an age of QR codes. Would that be an option to kind of put that out there?
Yeah, we could certainly create a QR code that goes to the same
link.
The same place the link
Yeah,
goes, yeah.
exactly.
Sure.
Thank you. All right. One more, let's see, 9.04, first review, new board policy 4141, concerted action work stoppage. Any questions on that? No? All right, and let's move on then to 10.01, additional administrative information.
Thank you, board, for taking action on filling the 2 vacancies we had in leadership with the principal at Dunlap, Christina, and the principal at Parkview, Julie Howard. So we appreciate that. We appreciate you allowing us to pack both board agendas for this month. It used to be that we would do just very little on these agendas, but you allowing us to put more on just keeps the operations moving swiftly so that we can and get everyone to hit the ground running. And so we wanted to thank you for that, all of your time and effort that you've put through looking through the LCAP and the local control accountability plan, and all the things that come during this part of the year. Summer doesn't slow down, but we are moving forward. And then I also wanted to thank board member Fan when she came to the flip-flops and forward thinking event that Dr. Anderson was holding all week last week. She spoke with the superintendent's office on Friday, and it was a mic drop. Didn't really have to do anything else. She said it all, and I think Mr. Tucci, who's never at a loss for words, and he's not here, so if you could tell him what I said, but he really, he's actually, Kara's here, you can tell him, Mrs. Tucci. We don't hear Mr. Tucci quiet very often, but he just said, wow, she's amazing. So we're so glad to have you aboard.
Board member comments?
Thank you, Mrs. Bates, and I wanted to congratulate Mrs. Howard and sorry if I mess this up, Mrs. Roskovic for being appointed. I'm excited to work with you next school year and reach out to your students, so thank you.
She said what I was going to say. Thank you very much. Welcome aboard. Thank you for your service, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you also.
But congratulations. We look forward to all the great things that's going to be. See a lot of thanks for hanging out with us this evening. Enjoy your summer.
Yeah, I would reiterate that. So thank you and kudos, boys. You've done a great job on your first board meeting. And I understand that they brought hold them to it.
That was under closed session. Or in passing.
All right, I have a few things. First of all, I want to apologize for being so clunky. I'm not used to this. I had to be coached a little bit on procedural things.
You did a great job. Good job.
I stumble over words. So anyways, I wanted to talk about board buddies tonight. I myself personally, I emailed a little bit with my board buddies. I said I was going to meet and I didn't, and it's totally my fault. I can say I had a rough year, I did, but I'm going to make it a point to meet with my board buddies. So I think it's important to get together with you, and I recommend that to all of you. I know it's hard, we're busy with work, but it's really important. So I'm going to make a big effort to do that. So, and then I think that was it. So